Hey friends, it's Miss Lisa here from ZENworks Yoga. I hope you are doing well and you're being those wellness warriors that we talk about when we're in class together. So we have a new class, we have a new format. Some things will be much the same. So the first thing that I want you to think about is the things that we might need for today. You can grab a yoga mat, you can grab a towel, or just a space for us to be quiet and be able to have our practice together. You could grab someone to do this with you, or maybe you want to grab a mirror. Another thing that you may like to have for practice today is a blanket for our Zen pose. So now that you've grabbed those things, I'm going to invite you to come in to a way to sit comfortably and notice how you're feeling. Do you remember our mood chart? So you can look at this, you can think about the colors, you can think about the emotion. What would explain the way that you are feeling right now? So our theme for today is empathy. Empathy is about coming to a place that we can respect other people's feelings. How do we do that? Well, first, we need to recognize the feelings that we have within ourselves. What does it look like? What does it feel like when we have these different moods and emotions? So that when we see someone else and having one of these emotions and these feelings, we can kind of go back to remembering what that felt like, right? We're all human beings. We are all made to feel these different things. Now, the way that we show them may be very different. So that's about getting that time to recognize how other people show their emotions. So it really does require us to pause, to breathe, to reset before we make some kind of judgment about how somebody else is feeling. All right, so you remember, we pause, we breathe, we reset. And so I'm so thankful that you're taking this time. So we're going to start with a breathing exercise. It's called alternate nostril, or it's called balancing breath. And there's many ways to do this breath work, where it can be really complicated with the hands and complicated with which way we go. We're not going to make it so. I want you to just take your thumb, either thumb, and rest it on the outside of either part of your nose, either side of your nose. Take a breath in the other side. Take your pointer finger, close that where you just breathed in, and release your thumb, breathe out. Breathe in, seal it with your thumb, release your pointer finger, breathe out. Breathe in, close that off, release your thumb, breathe out. Keep going a couple more times. You might even be able to do this without using your hands and just thinking about breathing in through one side, breathing out through the other. Again, breathing in through one side, breathing out through the other. So as I do this, it reminds me that there's two sides of everything, right? Our bodies are made with two nostrils, two noses, two ears, and only one mouth. Two arms and two legs, only one heart. There is two chambers of the heart, you're right. Also, two lungs. So we're going to use that count. We're going to think about sets of two as we move on to our mat. So first we're going to come to the mat and we're going to stand in what's called mountain pose. We're going to find sun salutation. We're going to find 2 rounds of the sun salutation together and we'll see how that goes. Maybe we'll do one on our own. Are you ready? Great, so am I. So as we come to mountain pose, we're going to take those 2 legs. We're either bringing those 2 feet together or you can bring them slightly apart. Take some time here just to feel both feet on the ground. Take an inhale. Feel yourself get taller. Take that exhale. Feel yourself sink into the ground. Maybe you can imagine again that you are doing that alternate nostril breathing. Breathe in through one side as you lift up. Breathe out the other side as you settle into the ground. Great. You can stay facing me. I'm going to turn to the side so that we can get ready for a sun salutation. We're going to do this again together, right? So find yourself in mountain pose. Hands can be at your sides. Fingers can be spread or coming together. You get two choices. You decide. Take an inhale, big breath into tall mountain. Exhale, bend your knees and come down to a forward fold. Hands to the ground. Inhale, halfway up. Your hands can come onto the tops of your legs and straighten your arms, straighten your legs, or you can bend your knees. Two choices here. Take a breath here, and then we'll exhale and send the right leg long behind us, finding a lunge. Take an inhale, take that leg, front leg back, stack your hands right underneath your shoulders into plank pose. This is really strong on the arms, so if it's too much, you can bring your knees down to the ground. You've got two choices, low knees or high knees. On an exhale, we're going to find crocodile. So bring the knees down, elbows hug to the side of the body, lower to the ground. Tops of your toes find the earth. Press through your hands, looking down, lift up just a little, keep those elbows bent for cobra pose. Exhale, lower down, turn to the bottoms of your toes, come up to hands and knees, and then straighten your legs, downward facing dog. Take a breath in, take a breath out. Maybe there's a dog sound that comes out with it. And then inhale, look up to your hands. Step your right foot forward to the top of your mat. Back foot meets. Take a forward fold here. Soften your knees if you like. Let the top of your head go down towards the ground. And then on your next inhale, we root the feet to the ground. Inhale, rise up. Hands overhead, tall mountain. Exhale, hands by our side. Take a pause here. Breathe it in. Breathe it out and reset. We'll do that together again, a second time. Take a big breath in, reach up to tall mountain. Exhale, soften your knees, fold down, forward fold. Inhale up halfway. Exhale for a right leg lunge. Inhale to your plank, hands come right underneath those shoulders. Remember, you can have your knees up or down. Take an inhale here, and then exhale, lower to the ground. Tops of your toes find the earth, hands are right under your shoulders, and then inhale, come up for cobra pose. Keep those elbows bent, hugging the side of your body. Exhale, lower back down, turn your toes, come up to downward facing dog. Find an inhale here, and an exhale. Look up to your hands, step the opposite foot forward for your lunge, and then back foot meets, forward fold. Root down, rise up. Tall mountain. Exhale, hands by your side for mountain. And then take a hand to your heart and another hand over top. And find your rhythm of your heartbeat here. How is it feeling? What does it feel like? If it's beating really fast, I'm going to invite you to find that breath. Maybe that alternate nostril breath. Find one more breath. Notice how we're feeling. As I said, we're talking about empathy today. So we come from a place of understanding how we feel, and then coming to a place to be able to understand how other people feel, and then respect how they feel. Give them the space or the support that they need in going through what they're going through. So to help us do that, we're going to come to a wide-legged stance. As you come to this, I want you to remember to listen to your body, and I want you to stay safe. So find a way that you're not slipping out, but also that you are challenging yourself, right? We could simply do this with feet very close together, but I'm going to invite you to see, could you line up your wrists and your ankles? How does that feel? If it feels like it's too much strain on your legs here, then I want you to come in a little bit. Challenge ourselves here. Challenge ourselves to find some empathy, some understanding, respect for how other people are feeling. That comes from the heart space here. So we're going to do some opening of our heart. The first pose that we're going to find is triangle pose. Do you remember triangle pose? We're going to start it from this way. So facing me, you can find your hands, again, aligned so that wrists and ankles are relatively the same. Okay? Take a look down at your toes, take a look at your fingertips, and then let's give ourselves a big hug. You can imagine that you have your friend. Maybe they're not having such a good day. Maybe it is that they need a hug. Or maybe opening up your arms, they need some space. So we're going to practice these things. Take a look down, and we're going to start first with our left toes. Turn your left toes to face the short side of your mat. Keep your right set of toes still facing the long side of your mat. Take your hands out straight, fingertip to fingertip, and then start to tip forward and then back up. Forward and back up. Awesome. We're going to add on. We're going to tip forward and down, creating still a straight line from fingertips to fingertips. Inhale, come back up. We're going to find that again. Tip forward and down, look up, and then inhale, come back up. Awesome. That was 2 times. We're going to find the triangle pose and we're going to hold it for 2 breaths. So take an inhale, exhale, tip forward and down, fingertip to fingertip. Pause here for 2 breaths. You might find that it feels better on your neck to look down or to look up. Remember, you get to decide. Next, inhale, come back up. Turn all of your toes to face that long side of your mat. Decide if this feels good to keep standing like this, or if you need to come together and shake out those legs. Whew! Notice how they're feeling. We're going to find that on the other side. So turn your right toes to face the short side of your mat. Keep those left toes facing the long side of your mat. Let's find that straight line with our hands. We'll tip forward and back up. Tip forward and back up. This time we're adding on. Tip forward and down. Fingertips to fingertips, create a straight line. Inhale, come back up. We'll do it again. Tip forward and down, look up, and then inhale, come back up. Turn those toes. Decide if it feels good to stay here or heel toe those feet together. Now, when I do that pose, I think of someone supporting me with their hand or their back. So we're going to go back to our triangle pose on this side because are we even? Good catch. We need to hold our triangle pose here on the right side for our 2 breaths. I want you to imagine, though, this time that there's someone behind you that's supporting you to keep you strong and stable here. Maybe when we did the first side, you felt a little off. I want you to imagine that there's someone behind you. Or maybe go to the wall. Or remember that friend we talked about? This is the time that you could be back to back with them. So let's do it again. Straight fingertip to fingertip, tip forward and down. So your fingers don't come to the ground because I want you to be able to create that straight line from fingertip to fingertip. Pausing, finding where your head feels comfortable to look down or up. After you found those 2 breaths, I want you to imagine that a friend has got your upper hand and they're reaching, or you're reaching up to their hand and bringing you back up. Great job. Turn and face all sets of toes towards me. Jump together or heel toe together. Come back to mountain. Feel those legs. Shake it out. Nice work. I want us to go back and find an add-on pose. So we're going to take a very similar pose. So coming back to our starting position, turn those left toes away. Bend into the knee this time. And we're going to park our forearm right on the top of our knee. Find that arm straight up. So now, fingertips are in line with our elbow as the lowest point. You can stay here or bring your hand so that your upper arm is right by the side of your head. This is side angle pose. We're going to pause here for 2 breaths. So take a breath in and a breath out. Another breath in and breath out. Great job. Inhale, come back up. Again, remember, you've got that friend. You're reaching for them to help you come up. Turn your toes to face me, and then we'll switch to the other side. Bend in to your right knee. Park the right elbow or forearm on top of the knee. You don't want to be on the knee. You want to be just a little bit more above. Find that alignment from elbow to shoulder to fingertips, or reach the arm overhead. Keep that knee bent. Find 2 breaths here. We're opening the side of our body now. Take that breath in. Easy breath out. Another sweet breath in. Breath out. Get that help from a friend to inhale and come back up. Straighten your legs. Heel toe or hop together back to our mountain pose. Take a moment now to notice, how are you feeling? Did you get that help and support from a friend? Maybe that friend still wants to play with us. We're going to practice a mindfulness activity. Do you remember mindfulness? Paying close attention. So as we do this activity, you can either use your friend and play along with them, or you can go to that mirror. What we're going to do in this mindfulness activity is we're going to take some time to notice how someone else is feeling. So if you're doing this with yourself, then we really have a chance to really play here. I want you to imagine that you are either looking at someone else or that the mirror is someone else, okay? And what we're going to do is we're going to have a time to really see, how is someone feeling? What is that mood that they are expressing on their face? Now remember, we may have a facial expression that isn't exactly how we're feeling, but what we are simply doing is noticing the facial expression and mimic it. What does mimic mean? You're right. It means to copy. It means to do what the other person is doing. So we're not going to talk. We're just going to take some time to be mindful and notice, to pay attention to that facial expression. Are you ready to give it a go? Great. So, looking face to face with your partner or yourself. And if you're doing it with yourself, I want you to imagine a facial expression. Watch yourself create that expression and notice how it feels. If you're doing this with a partner, then one of you is going to make a face and the other is going to try to copy it. Do you need me? All right. So, if you don't have a partner, you can copy mine. Remember, we're not talking. We're just trying to mimic the facial expression. So, I hope you're able to find some empathy in this practice. This mindful practice of with a partner or with ourselves or with me, mimicking how someone is looking with their face. It doesn't always tell us exactly how they're feeling because we're not using our words, right? So this idea of empathy, this idea that we can recognize, we can understand maybe, or we simply can respect how other people are feeling. We don't have to try to change it. Maybe there's something we could do to reach out and help them, or just open our hearts up. But I don't know about you, but I think now more than ever, it's super important that we have empathy because there's a lot going on around us, right? You're feeling it, I'm feeling it. So what do? Well, taking some time to pause, to breathe, and reset can help us build that empathy. So the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to find our Zen pose. So Zen pose can be your choice, on your back or on your belly. If you're coming to your back, you could bend your knees or keep your knees straight. You can grab that blanket. So I'm going to hop to my mat with my blanket. And remember, you've got those choices. Legs can be straight or they can be bent. If you would prefer to be on your belly, you could stack your hands one on top of the other so that your forehead comes onto your hands and you can breathe comfortably. I'm asking you to choose a way so that your body is symmetrical. What's happening on one side of your body is the same or similar to the other side. And as we come here, I'm going to invite you to come back to your breathing. Can we take some time to notice if we're breathing a little bit stronger on one side of our nose than the other? Maybe we have allergies or a cold that's preventing us. Or maybe we simply, because of the mood we're in or the time of day that it is, we're breathing a little more on one side as opposed to the other. This alternate nostril breathing, balanced breath, is to help us try to balance our energy, balance our moods, knowing that we can have a mood or an emotion that we're feeling inside, but it may not always be shown on the outside. And then I'm going to invite you to try not to think about how you're breathing, but simply notice your body resting here in Zen pose. Feel the back of your body resting on the earth. I'm going to start a timer for us for 3 minutes. 3 minutes is a good time to let the body relax and settle. Find some comfort in being still. The mind wanders, you can invite it to come back to noticing that we're taking some time to pause, breathe, and reset, so that we can come off of our mat with greater empathy, respect, and understanding for all those around us. Feel what it feels like to pause, breathe, and reset. Take some time to notice how it feels to be here in Zen pose. Maybe you were able to stay still here in Zen pose the whole time. Maybe not. Either way, it's fine with me. Just hope that you were able to find some time to pause, breathe, and reset. So let us wiggle our fingers and our toes. Roll on to one side of your body. You can bend your knees slightly. Use your bottom arm as a pillow. Just take a moment to notice how it feels to transition to your side, either from your back or your belly. And then press through your top arm and then your bottom arm, coming to your seat. So take a notice to how you are feeling now. Are you feeling a little bit of empathy? I hope you all are well. I hope that you're able to find time to pause and breathe and reset. And no matter what it looks like, I know that you're out there trying to be the best wellness warriors that you can be. Until I see you again, be very well. And remember that the goodness in me sees the goodness in you. Namaste.